We are a nation of drinkers and no one asks why. No one bats an eye. Do we ever stop to look at the harm or the effect on society as a whole? Our drinking nation is not age-specific. In fact, if you have not been binge drinking at some stage in your life, I would question your nationality. Do we question the harsh words that may have passed our lips, sleeping with someone we shouldn't, wishing we hadn't, knowing that we shouldn't have? That line of cocaine or the ecstasy tab we may have had more sense to refuse 4 pints or 2 Jaeger bombs ago. We wake up and convince ourselves, it wasn't me, I was drunk. I love that statement. I've had friends finish that sentence with, I'm not going out with you anymore because you remember everything. I really do feel it for the youth of today. I was lucky enough to grow up without Facebook, Snapchat and Instagram. My teenage years were not played out like a West End show to millions via social media, giving my friends and peers every opportunity to publicly ridicule every fashion faux pas and bad hair day, of which I've had many. I do see the good in social media, though. We are now not only aware of a refugee crisis, we have the face of a tiny 5-year-old boy's body washed up on a beach, imprinted in our minds forever. I'm not sure if you've seen this image, but it's one that I'll never forget. We also learn about new disorders through this wonderful platform, such as amyotrophic lateral sclerosis. We complete ice bucket challenges in order to raise awareness and funds for the people affected, when months later our youth are challenged to neck nominations which take their lives. Years after all the drinking and the odd dabble in recreational drugs, we end up not functioning properly. We can't think, our minds are running at 90 miles an hour. We can't sleep, suicidal thoughts creep in. Anxiety, depression, or worse can be diagnosed by your local GP. We then revert to the new norm. Sleeping tablets, antidepressants, antipsychotics, red wine midweek or sulfidine, whatever helps you through. But do they? Or are we just masking the problem? Would therapy, counselling, or meditation help? Ask yourself this. Of all the beautiful souls lost by our community to suicide, how many had clear toxicology reports? Now let's take it one step further. Had mental health issues or substance abuse of any kind touched their lives? Now let's look at the services and how we're running this country. If we were to complete a random drug test for legal and illegal substances in our government tomorrow, how many of the people we employ to run this country would pass? I was helping a young guy in his early 20s only a few weeks ago. He told me while unable to stand, he was so drunk that he himself was suicidal. He explained that he lost his best friend to suicide earlier this year, and he said he just couldn't understand why. He said, we'd just been on the best 10-day cocaine-fueled bender of our lives, and that Sunday he spent searching for his friend's body. We as a nation are going through a mental health epidemic, and I'm constantly asking why. Did you know we have between 60 and 80,000 thoughts a day? We are receiving 60,000 times more information than we did 60 years ago. We have not yet evolved to contain such information. And with the constant pressure to have the perfect relationship, the perfect family, the perfect career, and all of which must be perfectly photographed and posted on social media to exist, how are we to cope? I wondered one day while tagging myself at the gym, would I burn equally the same amount of calories had I checked in or not? Then I looked at my mental and emotional state before and after checking in. Once I had placed that tag, I felt like my workout was done. Are we living an existence based on social perception? When we're experiencing the most joyful moments of our lives, are we really living that joy? Or are we constantly thinking how best to post this event? We are losing intellect while gaining online intelligence. We don't think anymore, we ask Google. We don't create, we check Pinterest and we just imitate something that already exists. Don't be controlled by an online existence. Be yourself, accept yourself, get to know yourself. I am not standing here declaring perfection, far from. I am not standing here in judgment. The betterment of society with a hopeful wish, my words may inspire choices in the decisions we have not yet made. Go outside to the beach, the river, the forest, and just walk. Remove yourself from constant news feeds, sports results, your PC, your tablet, your phone. and just sit quietly until it becomes comfortable. This may take a while, but trust me, serenity is worth it. I'd like to now perform for you my first piece of spoken word. It's called Socially Acceptable. We drink when we're not thirsty, no harm, sure I'm only 30. The alcohol's got me. It wasn't me last week, last month, or in July. It's not a lie, it's what we do on this island. Go out, neck it, wreck it, live the buzz. Living what was once a life of simple thoughts, smiles and laughter, now filled with dark mornings of sulfidine solutions, lunchtime cures and Saturday night disaster. Midweek tipples turn into Thursday tears. Rewind, repeat, fast forward, some yokes. Sure, it's all a joke. The mind can't focus. Living in last week, last month, last decade's regrets, fear is taken over. They say it's depression. I say it wasn't me last week, last month, or last year. My blurred thoughts became intoxicated actions. Did I choose this destiny of anxiety and confusion? In my future, I build worry for what I perceive may catastrophically happen. The room is closing in. I can't breathe. I want to leave. I have arrived. I feel my feet in the sand, my breath in the moment. My life is in my hands. I see the sunlight and take in life's pleasures. It's all me. I'm 63. My life created me. I haven't paid for my vice. I've taken all the good advice. Live in the moment, feel your breath and be free. But my sonny needs me. ADD lives a simple life, lacks attention and order. Confused states of mind and laughter. My grandson's bipolar. Have I lacked a life of trying to create world order, or have my choices created a new disorder? Medication, the new vice of this generation. A world full of sedated minds making decisions for a nation. Creative minds can draw the dole. Google's in control. Wars make money and illness sells. New visions created by genius minds and stolen by the dragons with the money to do so. Step back, fall forward, watch yourself. Insure yourself, your dog, your life, your car, as you've been feared to do so. Fear what might happen. It didn't. You aren't. He didn't. Breathe, enter your own body and be free. This is me. I'm 23, no drink in my hand, a hatred for drugs and a yearly list for my destiny. Fast cars, late bars, pure thoughts, smiles and laughter. Embarrassing moments I try to forget. Sober thoughts I won't regret. Wisdom and sadness for what I've seen, but I am keen, learning with a sixth sense. I now understand the world is in my hands. I'd like to now tell you a little bit about where my inspiration originates from. My name is Linda Sheridan. I was born in 1980 to the most loving family. My mother is literally the most kindest, caring, giving person you could ever meet. You could ask my mum for an organ and she would say yes, without ever questioning first whether she needed it or not herself to survive. She passed this wonderful nature on to my brother. We were brought up in Tallaght, in Dublin, surrounded by the most admirable community spirit. We didn't have much, but we had each other. I was bullied a little in primary school, and at 12 I went to secondary school with one mission: to be popular. I made some great friends that first year, and to this day we are still close. At 17 in my Leaving Cert year, my friend who had been failed by the mental health system ended up in prison for murder. That was my first and only time to pass through the gates of Mountjoy prison. I was searched and felt those gates close behind me. While in the visiting room, surrounded by other prisoners, I gave him the notes he needed to complete his Leaving Cert, while he showed me the wounds that were self-inflicted, saying that what he felt was happening wasn't real. So many lives had been ruined forever. At 18, I received another lesson. I was involved in a traffic accident, totally not my fault, but as we live in this blame-claim culture, it was dragged through the courts. I won both the civil and the criminal court cases. But to this day, I will never forget the absolute terror of being torn apart by that barrister as I stood in the witness box. After the court cases, and delighted with my 8 honours, myself and my friends planned your typical Leaving Cert results celebration, 2 weeks in the Canaries. While on holidays that following year, I got really ill. When I came home, the illness persisted and my liver started to fail. Although the medical team didn't quite know what was wrong with me, they advised me not to consume a toxin for at least a year. No alcohol, not even a headache tablet. I think my friends drank more in that year than they have done in any year since then. 18 months later, and with a full diagnosis from an American blood team, I was given the good news. I had now a fully functioning liver and permission to drink again. That day I asked myself, Was I still first on the dance floor? Did I still get up and sing badly on the karaoke? And the answer was yes. I haven't drank since, and 2 months before my 21st birthday, I moved into my very own 3-bed semi. At 23, I got one of the greatest gifts I have ever received. A little boy came to stay with us from an orphanage in Belarus. He came through the Chernobyl Aid Ireland charity on their rest and recuperation programme. He came to stay for 1 month at Christmas and 3 months in the summer. And I'm incredibly proud to say, after a 10-year battle, 22 tearful goodbyes, he is now 23, he is my son, and he's here in the audience tonight. Vanya, everyone. Vanya's life would make a trilogy you would not believe to be based on a true life story. When he was 6, at the hands of his alcoholic father, he lost his mother. His father served 10 years in prison, and his brother served 8. Vanya has taught me more than any formal education ever has done or will do in this lifetime. Imagine my excitement that first Christmas. We had this little boy coming to stay with us from the orphanage, and I was going to give him everything. I don't think I slept for a week with excitement. And on that Christmas morning, you couldn't see the carpet. I rushed down to his bedroom, woke him up, brought him to the living room, and I could have never predicted what was going to happen next. He stood in the doorway, the blood drained from his face, he felt instantly sick, and he ran. I persisted and persisted that all the gifts were for him. After much persistence, he took 1 key ring and 1 small car. It took me a long time to understand why. But Vanya only had 1 pocket that Christmas morning, and in his world, possessions meant you were in danger. There's been so many lessons just like this one. Another time he came through the airport, and through all the hugs and smiles and laughter, I noticed he had all these scratches on his face. And when I asked him what had happened, through our usual form of communication, which was charades, because we hadn't got a language between us, he explained that the girls had been given responsibility to clean the boys' bedroom block, and there wasn't enough toothbrushes to go around. So the girls used to take all the toothbrushes and set the boys challenges to get the toothbrushes back. That day I went to the local Euro store and I bought every toothbrush they had in order to try and stop these children trading toothbrushes like cigarettes in prison. We've also had so many funny times, so many moments of joy and laughter. And one of my favourite stories that makes me smile to this day is our first trip to Tesco's. We arrived at the till, trolley full of shopping, and Vanya just could not understand how the machine knew when to beep. So he used to try and beat it. So he'd beep, and the till would beep, and he'd beep. Vanya played beat the beep for every trolley load of shopping for 3 years. What could I do? I used to just stand there and smile, you know? How could I explain the situation? I couldn't even speak his language. I'm so incredibly proud of the young man that he's become today. He doesn't wear his scars like a suit of armour. He knows the true meaning of the word charity. He goes around and tries to make everybody that's around him smile. And I am honoured to have been part of his journey so far. I'd like to now share with you my second piece of spoken word, which is about our journey, and it's aptly named My Son. Me. I wrote a song when I was 33. Was it all about me, my life lessons, or what it really meant to me? Life and understanding of this century, I'm 100 years wise, yet I'm only 33. It all started when I was 23. Or was it when I was only 3? My mum said to me, think of all the babies you'll have when you're grown up like me. My reply when I was 3, I'll have to save all the babies that are already here like me to be a mam just like you. With a vision so clear and strong, it was hard to get along. Old and wise would recognise, young friends would criticise and mock. Teenage years full of fears of fitting in. I wasn't young with a fear of fitting in. I was different and hadn't quite realised how much I was happy to stand out, speak out, look up and be counted. Change lives with a vision that astounded. At 23, my true lesson came to me. From Russia with love, he was sent to me. He would be my best teacher in all of what life is meant to be. He would truly connect with me. Connected by a soul which had passed away, this was meant to be. Life of cruel torment and hatred, shut off from what is sacred. Lessons he had learned a teacher could not preach. Lord of the flies in reality could not teach. Loss of life, strife, a cruel tormented life. You are here to me, but yet he didn't appear to be. 2 years of love, life and laughter, looking after, no joy, he would still not cry, trust or rely. A small hand from a cage, a monkey he did engage. One small hand to another, passed a piece of apple and the loss of a mother. Legs lost all power from within, and from that hard nut the emotions did begin. From one small crack that wept over years gained strength and did grow, beaten, cherished and let go. On this roller coaster we did go. Airport tears and months of fears, laughter filled so many Christmas years. Pocket-sized presents with hidden value, toothbrushes with prison value. Lessons learned and let go. Through his teachings I did grow. From the spirit world he was sent to me. Connected one mother to another. In many ways he gave birth to me. Showed me my determination and who I was meant to be. You are my son and were always meant to be. Sent by your birth mother. Now you have another and you are here with me. Thank you.